Hey, this is Erica Holston. I am a relationship and a communication coach. I help singles and couples enhance their romantic connections, build their communication skills, and create lasting change by setting realistic goals. So, today I would like to speak with you about how to overcome arguments now. So many of you may be in a relationship and are married, and you don't know exactly how you can overcome that same argument that you keep on having. And you may be thinking to yourself, you know what, like we really need to get over this argument. We really need to come to terms about what we want in our relationship and what we want in our marriage. And so I would like to help you to become clear about what is it that you want to happen again in your relationship or in your marriage. So some examples as far as the same arguments that happen in relationships or marriages are not sharing their feelings. So you may be withholding some of your feelings, or the person you're in a relationship may be withholding their feelings. And, sometimes it can be personality, sometimes it could be based on culture, or sometimes it could just be based on the role that they feel that they play in the relationship. Another example would be maybe one of you are putting your business on social media because you feel like at least it's some type of outlet. But I want to encourage you is that if you are putting your business out on social media, everybody else can have an opinion on what's going on in your relationship or in your marriage. And there are some things that should be kept private, and it can cause more damage than good. And so could have an argument about that because you you may not like your business being on social media, or the person you're in a relationship with or your spouse may not like their business being on social media. And I would just like to support you by saying, you know, we need to address those issues because social media isn't the place to put your business out on. Another example where people have repetitive arguments is maybe you have a budget and you're spending too much money and you're over exceeding what you have in your bank account. And so these are some examples as to what are common things people argue about in their relationship or in their marriage. And I would like to help support you when it comes to your relationship or when it comes to your marriage, because too many couples are suffering in silence or putting on a mask or smiling and just saying, everything's okay. Everything's okay. But the truth of the matter is that everything is not okay. And you can act like things are okay, but really they're not. And as a relationship coach, I support my clients to understand that communication is key, especially when it comes to having repetitive arguments. Communication is key. So that brings me to my first tip, and that is to talk about what's really bothering you. Like, if you're not talking, then what are we doing? If you're not talking, then how can you expect to resolve issues in your relationship or in your marriage? So we need to create a atmosphere where talking about your feelings is okay. Talking about your feelings is the right thing to do in order to see the reason why the arguments keep on happening, in order to see how you can actually overcome those things. And if you are able to create a a place in your relationship or a place in your marriage where talking is okay and being vulnerable is okay, let me tell you, is that your breakthrough is coming because you are willing to communicate, because you are willing to have a conversation, because you are willing to share your feelings openly. All right. So, number two, ask yourself or ask your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, why is this issue bothering you so much? Why do you believe we are having these arguments over and over and over again? Because if you don't know the why you're having these arguments, then that can be a stumbling block because you don't know exactly why. But you have to be willing to be open with each other, vulnerable with each other, and transparent with each other. And once you are able to do that, then the wheels start turning for real. Then the relationship and the marriage starts to move in the direction that you would want it to. All right. So number three, ask yourself or ask them, how do you believe we can overcome this? There's no point in having the same issue for X amount of time. It is possible to overcome. It is possible to have those conversations. But the question is how can you overcome it? What are you willing to do? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Oh, yeah, I said it. Relationships and marriages can be about compromising and sacrificing. We don't talk about that enough. But the truth of the matter is that when you are willing to put in the work, when you are willing to put in the effort, let me tell you, it's going to come down to one, communicating, two, compromising, three, sacrificing. One of those things or all three of them. I'm just being real. Now is the time to be real with each other. Now is the time to really have those authentic conversations, because if we playing fake, you gonna get fake. But if you are willing to be real with yourself, if you are willing to be real in your relationship, if you are willing to be real in your marriage, let me tell you, things are going to turn around for you. Things are going to shift in a different dynamic. And it's going to be worth it. So number four is you have to be willing. So, you have to know how you are going to overcome these things. Come up with a plan saying, how can we do this? What are we willing to do? And hold each other accountable. We don't talk about that word enough. Accountability is needed. How are you going to hold each other accountable? Because if you aren't willing to hold each other accountable, then how can your plan work? How can your strategy work if you aren't willing to hold each other accountable? Now is the time for us to have unity in our families. Now is the time for us to have unity in our marriages and in our relationships. We need each other.